Welcome students. In our previous lecture we had seen the broad classification of the plant kingdom. Now we are going to start the categories or the classes that are present in plant kingdom. So there are different types of groups or categories of the plants. Basically those are five. First is the algae, then the bryophytes, pteridophytes, gymnosperms and angiosperms. So firstly we'll start with the algae or the THALLOPHYTA. So let's get started. So the very first group of plants in the plant kingdom is algae or THALLOPHYTA. The characteristics of the plants belonging to this group are: number one, that algae are chlorophyll bearing, simple, thalloid, autotrophic and largely aquatic, both freshwater and marine organisms. Okay, so the very first characteristic is, first of all, they are chlorophyll bearing, that is they are photosynthetic in nature. They will be green in color. Okay, mostly they are green in color. Actually cannot be considered as that. Green color cannot be considered as the basic thing in algae, because there are different colored algae also apart from green color, like brown algae and red algae. But the basic thing is that in all such type of algae, chlorophyll is the main important pigment which is associated with photosynthesis. Okay, then the structure, if we see the structure of the algae, it's simple, thalloid. Okay, like in our previous lecture we had already discussed what does the word thalloid or thallus mean. It's simple sac like structure. So sac like structure means that they are not having well differentiated stems, root or leaf system. Okay, so their body is just an unorganized mass of tissues. Okay, so that is why their body is considered to be very simple type and thallus like. That is why they are termed as thalloid or thallophytes. Okay, then obviously since they are having chlorophyll, so they may be obviously autotrophic in nature. That means they are capable of preparing their own food, and they are largely aquatic in nature. Aquatic means that they can be freshwater organism also, and they can be marine organism or plant also. Okay, then some algae occur in association with fungi, lichen or with some animals. There are some algae which are found in symbiotic relationship with some other fungi, like we all know lichens. So what is a lichen? Lichen is a symbiotic association of algae and fungi. Okay, where algae provides food to the fungus component, and the fungal component in turn provides water and nutrients to the algae, isn't it? So both of them are benefited in this type of relationship, lichens. Okay, then also some algae are found growing on the body of some organisms, some animals, like on sloth bear. Okay, so some algae are also found on symbiotic association with the sloth bear. Check. Next is, there can be different types and varieties of algae on the basis of their size or their structure or their shape. Like there can be a unicellular motile algae, and the example is Chlamydomonas. Okay, so the unicellular motile algae is Chlamydomonas, or unicellular non-motile algae is Chlorella. Now if you know that in the kingdom Monera also we have studied that in the kingdom Monera unicellular blue-green algae are present, which is called cyanobacteria, isn't it? Blue-green algae called cyanobacteria comes in Moneran kingdom, isn't it? So there is a difference between blue-green algae and unicellular algae. Okay, what is the difference? The difference is in the nature of the nucleus, that the blue-green algae or the cyanobacteria which are grouped in Monera kingdom, those are having prokaryotic cell, means they do not have a well defined nucleus, but the nucleus in this algae, unicellular algae of the thallophytes in the plant kingdom, they are having unicellular eukaryotic cell. Eukaryotic cell means they are having well defined nuclear membrane in them. Okay, so this is the difference between blue green algae and algae. Otherwise, their body is also thallus structure. They also are having chlorophyll. Here also they are having chlorophyll and thallus like structure. Most of the structures are same in blue green algae and algae, but still blue green algae are considered as monorans. Why? Because they are prokaryotic in nature. So this can be an important question. Okay, then there are also some algae which lives in colonies. Okay, for example, volvox, very small, they are basically single celled. These also they are unicellular, but they prefer to live in colonies, in groups. Okay, so such are known as, example is volvox. Then filamentous unbranched form, there are some types which are in the there are some algae which are in the shape of some ribbon shape. Okay, so those example is Eulothrix and Spirogyra. Then some of some algae are also ribbon shaped, but they are more branched in nature, so that the example is Cladophora. Okay, then there can be some type of very huge and large structured, large bodied algae which are found in marine water, especially in the seas and the oceans. An example is kelps. Kelps are actually brown algae which grow inside the inside the sea and oceans, and they act as sea weeds. ठीक है, तो weeds का काम क्या होता है कि like weeds are unwanted plants, isn't it? So these are also basically they can cause huge destruction to the ships. Okay, to the ships or the any water plants, water organisms, because they acquire a lot of space and they are very much they have a very fast growing rate, isn't it? And they are very huge in size. तो एक तरह से कह सकते हैं कि ये जैसे झाड़ झंकाड़ होती है, ठीक है, ग्राउंड पे, वैसे पानी के अंदर जो होगा एक्वाटिक लाइफ के अंदर, तो वैसे भी एल्गीज इतने साइज में बड़े भी हो सकते हैं. ठीक है, so the example is kelps. Now one thing if I have to remind you is that whenever you are mentioning the name of the scientific name of any plant or animal, you have to write them in the scientific name only, and plus you have to underline those scientific terms, isn't it? Like you can see here Chlamydomonas, Chlorella, Volvox, Eulothrix, Spirogyra, Cladophora and kelp. Kelp is not a scientific name, but Cladophora, Eulothrix, Spirogyra, Volvox, Chlorella and Chlamydomonas, these are the scientific names of the algae. So whenever you are writing in your own handwriting on the copies, then you have to underline them. Okay, this is the rule. Otherwise your marks may be cut from in the exams. Okay, so from now we have to follow the binomial nomenclature in wherever possible. Okay, so these are some examples of the different types of algae. You can see here, this is the picture of surface which is covered with hugely covered with algae. You can see the structure. If you can just notice the structure, you can see they are just a mass or the lump of tissues, cells, isn't it? And all green over. Can you differentiate which part is the leaf, which part is the stem, which part is the shoot? No, we cannot differentiate. Okay, so such structure is called the thallus structure or thalloid body. You can see here, nothing is clear, isn't it? You cannot differentiate ki what is it, whether it is the stem, is it the root or the leaf, nothing is clear. So that is why algae are what? They are not having well differentiated root, stem and leaves. That is why they are kept in the group THALLOPHYTA. Now if we come to the reproduction pattern in algae, so the reproduction in algae can be basically with three methods. Number one, vegetative reproduction. Number two, asexual reproduction. and number 3, sexual reproduction. So vegetative reproduction, we all know it is also a type of asexual reproduction only, but in vegetative reproduction basically any part of the plant is involved in the formation of a new plant. ठीक है, for example, if a plant is there and if we cut a stem of that particular plant and we sow it in the soil and a new plant is growing, that means from the part of that plant another new plant is growing. So such type of reproduction is called vegetative reproduction. Okay, so in algae also the most common method of reproduction is by fragmentation. Like we have studied right now that some algae are filamentous structure, are having filamentous structure, that is some algae are having ribbon like shape or filament like shape. So in those algae what happen is any one part of that fragment just get detached from the main plant body, and wherever it grows under suitable condition it will develop into a new thallus. ओके तो कोई भी एक जैसे कि रिबन टाइप अगर वो एल्गी है, जैसे स्पाइरोगायरा हो गया, यूलोथ्रिक्स हो गया, तो उसको कोई भी एक पोर्शन जो एक फ्रैगमेंट जो है वो डिटैच हो जाएगा, टूट के जहाँ भी गिरेगा और उसको सूटेबल कंडीशन मिलेगा, मॉइस्चर और मिनरल, तो वो क्या होगा, इट विल स्टार्ट ग्रोइंग इनटू अ न्यू thallus or a new plant body. So such type of reproduction comes under vegetative mode of reproduction, and the example is fragmentation. Okay, next is asexual reproduction. Now it is more or less similar to that type of reproduction in fungi. We have studied now कि there are different types of spores which are formed in fungus. ठीक है, फंगस में क्या था कि डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ फ्रूटिंग बॉडीज़, जब भी फेवरेबल कंडीशंस होते हैं, जब भी मॉइस्चर अबंडेंट होगा तो क्या होगा, अभी रेनी सीजन है, मानसून सीजन चल रहा है, तो क्या होगा, वी कैन सी अ लार्ज नंबर ऑफ फंगस ऑल अराउंड, इजंट इट. सो जो अम्ब्रेला शेप्ड स्ट्रक्चर हम देखते हैं एक्चुअली वो क्या है, दैट इज़ द फ्रूटिंग बॉडी ऑफ द फंगस, जिसके अंदर खूब सारे स्पोर्स होते हैं छोटे छोटे. ठीक है, और ये स्पोर्स जो होते हैं वो जहाँ भी लिबरेट होते हैं वो वहाँ पे एक न्यू फंगस को ग्रो करते हैं, इजंट इट, दे डेवलप इनटू अ न्यू फंगस. तो सेम इज़ द केस विद द एल्गी ऑल्सो, कि इन एल्गी ऑल्सो इन केस ऑफ एसेक्सुअल रिप्रोडक्शन कि उनके अंदर छोटे छोटे स्पोर्स बनते हैं, और बेसिकली ये स्पोर्स कैसे होते हैं, मोटाइल नेचर के होते हैं. मोटाइल का नेचर मतलब ये हुआ कि दे आर हैविंग फ्लैजेला, उनमें जो है वो हेयर लाइक प्रोजेक्शंस होते हैं दो, तो जिसकी वजह से वो मूव कर पाते हैं ईजिली. ठीक है, सो दे आर मोटाइल, मोटाइल का मतलब दे आर मूवेबल. ओके, सो दे शो लोकोमोशन बिकॉज ऑफ द प्रेजेंस ऑफ द फ्लैजेला. ओके, सो एंड व्हाट इज फ्लैजेला, फ्लैजेला आर हेयर लाइक प्रोजेक्शंस, ठीक है, ऑन द surface of the cell. So with the help of those flagella they are capable of moving, and they find a suitable surface, and wherever they get the suitable surface they will start germinating into a new thallus or a new plant. ठीक है, तो within that particular algae different numbers of spores called the zoospores. ठीक है, ऐसे स्पोर्स जो मूवेबल हैं, जो मोटाइल हैं, जिनमें फ्लैजिला प्रेजेंट होता है, ऐसे एसेक्सुअल स्पोर्स को हम क्या बोलते हैं, जूस्पोर्स. ठीक है, अच्छा अब हमें कैसे पता चलेगा कि कौन से स्पोर्स जो है वो एसेक्सुअल हैं और कौन से सेक्सुअल स्पोर्स हैं. सेक्सुअल रिप्रोडक्शन में भी स्पोर्स का फॉर्मेशन होता है कभी कभी. ठीक है, तो asexual का मतलब क्या हुआ कि they involve only one parent, isn't it? So if a spore is formed within one parent, within the simple single individual parent, those type of spores will be termed as asexual spores. Okay, एक प्लांट है उसके अंदर अपने आप स्पोर्स का फॉर्मेशन हो रहा है सेल डिवीजन के थ्रू, छोटे छोटे स्पोर्स, छोटे छोटे सेल्स का फॉर्मेशन हो रहा है. तो चूँकि उसमें कोई दूसरा प्लांट इन्वॉल्व नहीं है, कोई क्रॉस कॉम्बिनेशन नहीं हो रहा है, कोई रिकॉम्बिनेशन, कोई फर्टिलाइजेशन नहीं हो रहा है, वो सिर्फ अकेले ही इंडिविजुअल एक पेरेंट है जिसके अंदर स्पोर्स प्रोड्यूस हो रहा है. इसमें कोई मिक्सचिंग अप ऑफ जीन्स नहीं है, कोई कॉम्बिनेशन नहीं है, न्यूक्लियाई का कोई फ्यूजन नहीं है. तो सच टाइप ऑफ स्पोर्स आर कॉल्ड asexual spores because they do not involve any other parent. They are produced from a single parent. So such spores are called asexual spores. And these spores are called zoospores. Why zoo? Zoo का मतलब आप ऐसे रिलेट कर सकते हैं, लाइक जू में क्या होते हैं, एनिमल्स होते हैं, ठीक है. तो एनिमल्स आर व्हाट, दे आर मोटाइल इन नेचर, मीन्स दे आर केपेबल ऑफ लोकोमोशन. ओके, so acispores that can show locomotion or motile in nature are called zoospores because they are provided with flagella, and wherever they get good conditions, suitable condition, they will germinate to give rise to a new plant. Okay, so this was the asexual mode of reproduction in algae with the help of zoospores, and vegetative reproduction by fragmentation. Next mode of reproduction is sexual reproduction. Now what is the sexual reproduction? Obviously, wherever the sexual reproduction term is there, that means there is the involvement of two parents, that is, there is a fusion of two gametes from two different individuals, which results in the formation of a zygote. Achha. Now here three conditions are there. In case of sexual reproduction in algae, three conditions are there. Like I said, that this involved sexual reproduction involves the fusion of the two gametes. Okay, one from the male plant and one from the female plant. Now three conditions can be there. Number one is called isogamous condition. Isogamous condition means if both the gametes are similar in shape and size. ठीक है, both the gametes, अगर दोनों gametes means one from one individual and another from another individual, if both these two gametes are same in size, similar in size, ठीक है, दोनों का size अगर same है, exactly नहीं तो तब भी approximately same है, तो ऐसे दोनों gametes को हम के fusion को हम क्या बोलते हैं, आइसोगेमस. आइसो का मतलब ही होता है कि सेम या सिमिलर या एक फॉर्म का दूसरा फॉर्म, isn't it? आइसो. So isosceles angle you must have studied in mathematics, isn't it? When the two sides of the triangles are same, isosceles, isn't it? Isomer, ठीक है, isotopes you must have studied, isn't it? So iso का means same और similar. तो जो ऐसे दो गैमेट्स फ्यूज़ करते हो जिनका साइज़ जो है वो आपस में सेम हो, ठीक है, तो उसको हम बोलेंगे आइसोगेमस कंडीशन. गेमस इज रिलेटेड टू गैमेट्स एंड आइसो मीन्स सेम और इक्वल. ठीक है. नाउ यहाँ पर भी आइसोगेमस में भी दो कंडीशंस हो सकते हैं कि दोनों फ्यूजिंग गैमेट्स फ्लैजिलेटेड हैं या नॉन फ्लैजिलेटेड हैं. ठीक है. तो अगर जैसे कुछ एल्गी होते हैं जो जिनकी में फ्लैजिला होता है, लाइक वी आर स्टडीड दैट क्लामाइडोमोनास इज़ अ यूनिसेलुलर मोटाइल एल्गी, क्योंकि उसमें फ्लैजिला होता है. ठीक है. तो उनके जो स्पोर्स बनेंगे ऑब्वियसली वो भी कैसे होंगे, फ्लैजिलेटेड होंगे. उनके जो गैमीट्स होंगे वो भी कैसे होंगे, फ्लैजिलेटेड होंगे. ठीक है. तो अगर दोनों गैमीट्स मेल और फीमेल साइज़ में भी सेम है और दोनों में फ्लैजिला लगा हुआ है, तो वो कंडीशन क्या कहलाएगी, आइसोगेमस कंडीशन. और किस में पाई जाती है, दिस इज़ फाउंड इन द एल्गी क्लामाइडोमोनास. ओके, इट्स फाउंड इन क्लामाइडोमोनास. Next example is of isogamous is if both the gametes are similar in size but they both are non-flagellated. अगर दोनों की साइज़ सेम हो बट दोनों के दोनों नॉन फ्लैजिलेटेड हों, तब क्या होगा, तब भी वो कंडीशन आइसोगेमस ही कहलाएगी. एंड दिस कंडीशन इज़ फाउंड इन दी एल्गी स्पाइरोगायरा. एक्चुअली स्पाइरोगायरा क्या है, वो एक फिलामेंटस एल्गी, फिलामेंट की तरह रिबन शेप्ड होता है. ठीक है. तो उसमें जो है फ्लैजिला प्रेजेंट नहीं होगा, उसमें सिर्फ स्मॉल सर्कुलर स्पोर्स पाए जाएंगे. ठीक है. और गैमीट्स बनेंगे. सो दोज गैमीट्स सिंस दे आर नॉट हैविंग फ्लैजिला, सो सच will be similar in size, all the gametes will be similar in size but they will be non-flagellated. These examples are given in your NCERT textbook and these are very important from the NEET point of view. Okay, in the competition point of view, these examples are asked frequently in the MCQs. Okay, so for your NEET preparation you must be aware of each and every examples and each and every diagrams given in your NCERT textbook. Okay. Next condition is n-isogamous. So n-iso means itself it is indicating that their two gametes are not same. So if the gametes are dissimilar in size, okay, so such condition is called n-isogamous. Okay, if both the gametes are similar in size, so isogamous, and if they are not similar in size, then that condition is anisogamous. एग्जाम्पल इज सम स्पीशीज़ ऑफ क्लामाइडोमोनास. ठीक है, कुछ स्पीशीज़ क्लामाइडोमोनास के ऐसे होते हैं जिनमें दोनों गैमेट्स की साइज़ क्या होगी, थोड़ी सी डिफरेंट होगी. अगर एक थोड़ा बड़ा है तो थोड़ा छोटा होगा दूसरा वाला. ठीक है, वन विल इज़ बिगर, द अदर विल बी लिटिल बिट स्मॉलर इन साइज. ओके, सो देयर विल बी सम डिफरेंस इन द साइज ऑफ द टू गैमेट्स. एग्जाम्पल इज सम स्पीशीज़ ऑफ क्लामाइडोमोनास. कुछ क्लामाइडोमोनास की स्पीशीज़ में एनाइसोगेमस कंडीशन भी होता है और कुछ क्लामाइडोमोनास की स्पीशीज़ में आइसोगेमस कंडीशन भी होगा. और आइसोगेमस में सिर्फ फ्लैजिलेटेड कंडीशंस होते हैं. ओके, and the third and the most important type of sexual reproduction in algae is oogamous type. Oogamous type means इसमें क्या होगा कि देयर इज़ अ फ्यूजन ऑफ द गैमीट्स बिटवीन वन लार्ज नॉन मोटाइल फीमेल गैमीट and a smaller motile male gamete. For example, this type you can just understand from the human reproduction pattern. Like in humans, if we see the structure of the egg, so egg is what? It is larger in circular in size as compared to the male gamete, that is the sperm, isn't it? ह्यूमन रिप्रोडक्शन में जो मेल गैमीट्स होते हैं दोज आर स्पर्म्स एंड द फीमेल गैमीट इज़ द एग, इजंट इट? इफ़ यू सी द स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ द एग, तो एग इज़ व्हाट? इट इज़ circular or oval in shape, round in shape, isn't it? Plus it is not having any flagella, so it cannot move. It is not having any tail, any flagella, any hair like projection. It is simply round in structure and bigger in size. ठीक है, बट इफ़ यू सी द स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ द स्पर्म, तो स्पर्म की साइज़ कैसी होती है? इट इज़ स्मॉलर, वेरी स्मॉल एज कम्पेयर टू द स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ द एग, इजंट इट? ओवम कंपैरिजन में स्पर्म का स्ट्रक्चर कैसा होता है? वेरी स्मॉल होता है साइज़ में, प्लस उसके स्ट्रक्चर में एक टेल पोर्शन भी होता है, एंड दैट टेल पोर्शन हेल्प्स दैट स्पर्म टू स्विम टूवर्ड्स द एग in order to get fertilized, isn't it? That means the male is having the flagella, so it is capable of locomotion, and so it moves towards the ovum in order to get fertilized. So same condition is found in algae also, and that condition is called oogamous condition, where the female gamete is larger in size, it is non-motile, but the male gamete is smaller in size, plus it is motile, means it is provided with the flagella. इसका मतलब ये हुआ कि मेल गैमेट को फीमेल गैमेट तक पहुंचना होता है. दैट इज़ वाई द मेल गैमेट इज़ प्रोवाइडेड विद द फ्लैजिला, विद द हेल्प ऑफ विच इट कैन स्विम टूवर्ड्स द फीमेल नॉन मोटाइल gamete. So 3 conditions are there in sexual reproduction in the algae: isogamous, aniso, and oogamous. So if both the fusing gametes are of the same type, same size, plus they either flagellated or both are non-flagellated, then that condition is isogamous. If both the gametes are dissimilar in size, then anisogamous. And if one is female is large and non-flagellated while the male is smaller but flagellated, that condition is oogamous, and it is found in volvox. Example is volvox. Okay, so you can see here the diagrammatic representation. This was the first mode of reproduction, that is vegetative reproduction. Now this is a diagram of the algae Spirogyra. I told you that Spirogyra is what? It is ribbon shaped or filament shape. Now you can see this is one complete algae. It is in the form of the ribbon, isn't it? And now you can see this algae is breaking into a particular segment, isn't it? इसका एक segment is broken, you can see, and this particular algae is divided into 2 fragments, isn't it? अब क्या होगा कि ये 2 fragments जो हैं that they will germinate into a complete new algae. ठीक है, पहले क्या था? It was a single algae in the filament shape, and then this filament got broken into two fragments, isn't it? It is divided into two fragments, and these two fragments will grow into a new algae. So this is an asexual mode of vegetative reproduction mode, and that is fragmentation. Okay, now this is the asexual mode of reproduction. You can see here, this is again a filamentous algae, और हर एक segment में you can see a number of spores are formed. These are what? These are spores. This spelling is wrong. Okay, zoospore. ठीक है, तो यू कैन सी कि एक एक फिलामेंट, एक एक सेल के अंदर जो है वो कई तरह के कितने सारे स्पोर्स का फॉर्मेशन हुआ है. एंड दीज स्पोर्स व्हेन दे आर लिबरेटेड, तो जहाँ भी इनको सूटेबल कंडीशन मिलेगा, दे विल बी ग्रोइंग इनटू अ कंप्लीट न्यू एल्गी. ओके, तो एक था, उसके अंदर कई सारे स्पोर्स बने, और ये स्पोर्स जब बर्स्ट होके बाहर लिबरेट हुए, तो जहाँ पर भी सूटेबल कंडीशन पाएंगे, दे विल बी अगेन ग्रोइंग बैक इनटू अ न्यू एल्गी. सो दिस इज़ द एसेक्सुअल मोड ऑफ reproduction. Okay, now this is the sexual mode of reproduction. You can see the very first condition is isogamy, when the two gametes are, so you can just see here that in case of isogamy, both these two gametes are similar in structure also, same in size also, and you can see the two flagellas. ठीक है, ये जो हेयर लाइक प्रोजेक्शन है, दैट इज़ ओनली द फ्लैजेला. तो दोनों में यू कैन सी द प्रेजेंस ऑफ फ्लैजेला, और द स्ट्रक्चर ऑफ बोथ दीज आर एक्सट्रीमली exactly similar, isn't it? So these two gametes, since they are similar in size and structure, so such type of sexual reproduction is termed as isogamy. Iso means same. Okay, now second structure, you can see here anisogamy, when the female and the male, means both the gametes are not similar in size. You can see the size difference here. This is smaller in size, the male part is the smaller in size, and the female is larger in size, isn't it? And so when there is these two gametes are dissimilar in size, then such type of reproduction is anisogamy. Aniso means they are not of similar shape and size. Okay, and the third condition is the oogamous condition. Oogamy में क्या होता है? You can see here the egg is a big, huge, large, and plus it is not having any flagella. But here you can see the male gamete, it is smaller in size, plus it is having the flagella also, isn't it? So that is why you can see the difference in this female and the male gamete. Okay, so that is why this condition is called as oogamous condition. ठीक है, ओ वर्ड इज डिराइव फ्रॉम दिस. ओवा जो है, ओवा को हम मतलब ओ वर्ड इज डिराइव फ्रॉम दिस ओवा, मीन्स हियर द मेन prominent structure the gamete is this ova, isn't it? So these are the three conditions. The very first is isogamous condition, where the two gametes are similar in size also, और दोनों, अच्छा isogamous में दोनों flagellated भी हो सकते हैं, या दोनों के दोनों जो है वो नॉन फ्लैजिलेटेड भी हो सकते हैं. ठीक है, तो ये दोनों कंडीशन भी आइसोगेमस ही होगी, और ये दोनों जिसमें फ्लैजिला है, ये दोनों कंडीशन भी आइसोगेमस ही होगी. आइदर केसेस, दो सिंस मेल एंड फीमेल आर सेम इन साइज, एज लॉन्ग एज द साइज आर सेम, तो उसको हम किस ग्रुप में रखेंगे? आइसोगेमस में. और जब सेम डिफरेंस साइज डिफरेंस होगा, तो दैट इज़ एनाइसोगेमस, सेकेंड टाइप. एंड द थर्ड टाइप इज़ व्हेन द फीमेल इज़ लार्ज in size and non-motile but the male is small.